God bless all my brothers and sisters. It's another beautiful night to worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. I'm going to share something with y'all to get you all to understand that if anybody lives apart from the word, I mean, not do what the word say, you're going to always be looked at in a bad light. Because people who don't live for God are fornicators, are adulterers, people who lie, people who murder, people who steal, people who gossip. These are all the things that God says that you're not supposed to do. So whether or not you never killed anybody, whether or not you never robbed anybody, whether or not you never, put something in somebody's drink, a date rape drug or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. People go to hell without committing heinous crimes that the world say is, despicable. You can be a virgin all your life and never fornicated with the opposite sex. But because you lusted when you seen men, or you lusted when you see women, you have committed adultery. Just because you haven't physically fornicated with someone doesn't mean anything in God's eyes if you have lusted, after a man or a woman. So I'm just going to show you that God's word is the standard for life. That's why nations and countries and cities and states name their, particular roads and cities after the Bible. Because the Bible is a book of righteousness. The Bible is a book that, if it's obeyed, or even if certain things are taken from it, countries can have a lot of peace and have a lot of order. Because if you sit here and say, hey, you go and kill your neighbor, go and assault your neighbor, go and fornicate with your neighbor's wife, what type of world would you have? What type of state would you have? What type of city would you have if you were people, if your nation, if your country allowed people to steal your goods? The Bible say way in Exodus, thou shalt not steal. What kind of nation would we have? What kind of city would we have? What kind of country would we have if they allowed you to kill people just because you don't like them for whatever reason you don't like them for? I mean, I'm just asking. What if you were allowed to bear false witness? What if you were allowed to lie on people? Just say, you see somebody driving a car that you like, or see somebody do something that you want to do, right? And you don't have the means to do it. And you call the police and say, oh, I seen them do this, and they really didn't do it. And they just come lock them up off of your word. They didn't they didn't give the person due processing. They didn't, look at the evidence. They didn't go in front of a grand jury. None of those things, right? What kind of country, what kind of state, what kind of city, what kind of world will we live in? So you see, before nations were nations, before they had presidents and vice presidents, and before they had sheriffs and governors and different things like this, the word of God was. You realize how you have the book of Genesis, then you have the book of Exodus, where Exodus is telling you, the 10 Commandments, right? Okay, so you see, that's when nations started rising up. They had to come from Adam and Eve. They had to come from Noah, right? And these were people that were of God. So the believers of God has always influenced the world. Think about it. Adam and Eve was first. Then the flood came. Then you had Noah and his family, the ones that were saved from him. Then everybody started coming from these group of people. I mean, from these people, Noah and his family, right? So Noah, the Bible said that he was a preacher of righteousness. So just think, Job was every day offering up sacrifices for his children, praying for them. He was doing what was right in God's eyes. Did it say that Job's wife prayed like that? Did it say that Job's wife offered up sacrifices like Job? Did it say that Job's wife had a deep love and reverence for God? No, it didn't. Did it say that Job's children had a deep reverence and respect and love for God, and they offered up sacrifices and they offered up prayer unto God? No, it didn't. It said that Job, and then it tells you that Job was the one that was blessed. Job was the one, right, that was serving God and who God vouched for. So follow me. So now you see that you had people who was once on this earth who feared God. They had children. Look at the story of Jacob and his 12 sons. Remember, Jacob's name became Israel. He had 12 sons. Was all his sons righteous? Was all his sons holy? No. They did many evils, right? Besides Joseph, right? And Benjamin. But the other brothers, many of those did wickedness and did evil, right? So, but they knew that their dad was a man of God. They showed respect to him. You know, they showed fear at times. They even lied to him because they understood his heart. So you understand how darkness came into the world? But do you understand how the word of God have got twisted up over the years and generations and centuries? Because the word of God had impacted the world. Every person that's walking around comes from someone who feared God at one point in time in this life. I'm talking about thousands of years ago. All of us, the Bible said that Eve, her name is Eve because she's the mother of all living. Eve knew God. Adam knew God. You understand? Seth knew God. Abel knew God. Noah knew God. Abraham knew God. This is where people come from. You understand? Where do people come from? They come from Adam and Eve. They come from Noah, right? Doesn't matter if you're Caucasian, doesn't matter if you're Russian, doesn't matter if you're German. That's where you come from. You understand? And these people believed in God. But many that was in their households knew of God, knew of their dad or their mother relationship with God, but they didn't have that firm love and that firm belief in God. And you clearly see at times they walked about deceitfully. Come on now. Look up the story when Jacob, put on the furry animal fur to act like his brother, Esau. Right? You see? So remember, Esau sold his birthright. So his mother said, do this and do that. Remember with Jacob's wives? Remember one stole the father's shrines and lied and said she was on her period. When the dad came to check, to see if they had it with them. I mean, you seen a lot of stuff in the Old Testament where people who were connected to people who were men and women of God, they moved about deceitfully. So you see how the word can become watered down, or how the word can become, twisted, because people always had a knowledge of God, even way back in the Bible days. You understand? Remember, Rahab was a prostitute. That means she sold herself. She sold her vagina. You understand? To make money. And you remember that when the spies came, she said, I heard of this God. I heard of this God. Even the Philistines knew who God was, right? They heard of him. They had the Ark of God. They said, man, they took the Ark of God and they said, let's give it back. Because since it's been here, we've been plagued. In Egypt, they knew of God. So you see how the world has always known of God from the old days. People told stories. When Moses parted the Red Sea and Egypt was destroyed and crushed, yes, they rebuilt it. They built buildings and more pharaohs had kids and, the kings were still there. We know this from the Bible. So the point I'm trying to make is that they told these stories the same way y'all still talking about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, right? All these people that were great leaders in the eyes of the world, people are still talking about them. People are still talking about Hurricane Katrina. People are still talking about the great floods. People are going to be talking about COVID-19 for hundreds of years because of the impact that it had to the world. You understand? So when people knew of God way back in the Bible days, nations that didn't believe in God heard of God, and many feared God, and many heard of his wrath and his power and how he destroyed many nations. So the world has always been heavily impacted by the word of God. They have known the word of God. And many people had loved ones in their families that truly worship God in spirit and in truth, right? But many of their loved ones, many of their children, many of their wives did not so. Job's wife wasn't a believer of God. Job's wife told Job to curse God and die. She didn't even want to be married to him anymore because all the worldly possessions was gone. Her heart wasn't in the giver of those possessions. Her heart was in those worldly possessions. So when they got taken away, she didn't see a need to be married anymore. She didn't have love. Because the Bible says if you don't love God, then you don't love. You don't know love. See that? You see? See when the possessions was there, she acted like a good wife to some degree, right? Or she adjusted and did what she got to do. But when the money was gone and the property was gone, Job's wife said, curse God and die, because she didn't know love. The Bible say those who don't know God don't what? They don't love. They don't know love. Because you're not going to be taught love in the world, a world until you can carry guns. You're not going to be taught love in the world when the world says you got the right to freedom of speech. You got the right to bear arms. You're not going to know love in the world when you can look on TV and somebody's cracking jokes on somebody else. You're not going to know love when you can go watch a UFC fight where two men are taunting each other, or a boxing match where they getting ready to go box and they sitting there, I'm going to beat you to a pulp. I'm going to destroy you. Wait till fight night. You see all that anger and aggression. Remember, where there's hate, love can't be. Why do you think that there's racism in the world today? They call it racism because they directing it towards people hating one another, right? So they gave it a name. But truthfully, it's just called hate. That's a fact. So when you look at the Old Testament, people always knew of God, even the ones who wasn't following or believing in God, because he did so many things that shook up the world, that shook up nations. You don't think people heard about Sodom and Gomorrah? You don't think people heard about the story of Jonah when he went out there and they were all going through that? You don't think they heard about, what happened in Jerusalem? How they were conquered and defeated, and many of them were taken as slaves. This is all history. This is history for these people. So they always knew of God. We come from Adam and Eve. We come from Noah. And these people were believers of God. And they, in their heart, they taught their family, they taught their loved ones. But it was their choice to follow. You follow me? So the world has always known of God because it was passed down through generations. Stories were passed down through generations. The same way your family is going to be talking about COVID-19 for years to come because of what it did. Some people lost loved ones. Some people was terrified, petrified, right? Didn't know what was going to happen next. Walking around with a mask, hand sanitizer, 6 feet. That changed the world. They're going to be talking about it. Scientists are in there trying to figure out now how to prepare for another COVID-19 because they learned from it. They was humbled by it. You understand? That's how it was back in those Bible days. So people knew of God. No, there's nothing, you can't introduce someone to God. They already know who God is. Whether they believe it, whether they live for him or not, that's a different story. You understand? His name is on the back of money. So this is the reality. So Job's wife never loved God. You understand? Because she wasn't a believer of God. Right? She wasn't a believer of God. 1 John 4 says what? Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. You see that? You see that? 1 John 4, he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. You see that? So Job's wife showed you that her heart, she didn't have any faith in God. That's why when all those things happened, material riches was gone, her possessions, she immediately looked at God in a bad light, looked at Job in a bad light. You see that? She didn't have love. She married someone who loved God. So you got to think she wasn't living as Job was living. The Bible never said that nobody in Job's household was doing what he was doing, making them sacrifices like he was making them sacrifices. So you don't know love, right? Listen, look at the title. What you think love is, isn't. What you think love is, isn't love. What you have been taught about love is wrong. Now let's look at what the word love means. Love is an intense feeling of deep affection. Gentle affection means gentle feeling or fondness or liking. Why do you see people that don't talk to people? Let me ask you a question. People say that they love their kids. They love their family members. They love their loved ones, right? So you see when people come together on holidays or they come together to visit family, they talk, they hug, you know, they smile, they have conversation, right? So let me ask you a question. If love is in their heart for their family and their loved ones, and they're used to, you know, having dialogue and communicating with people, why don't they do it with people that's strangers? People don't pose a threat. People are not, why are they not warm and bubbly with people they don't know? You got some family members that you barely see. Think about when you go to a family reunion. It's some people that done had kids. Remember, family reunions are not happening every year. It could be 10 years until you have another family reunion, or even longer. Some people done had kids. Some people done remarried. Some people done, you know, divorced the person they was with last time you seen them. Some people went to another country and then came back, went in the military, joined, you know, whatever. But when you see your cousin's new husband, who you haven't seen before, what do? You greet them as if you known them forever. Hey, cuz, it's nice meeting you. Hey, uncle. Hey, auntie. You know, you my new auntie. I like you. You see that so-called love comes out? You just played a role. Let me explain to you what it is and how it's not love. It's not love because it's not expressed in every other area. Remember, the Bible says that you can't serve God and mammon, right? The Bible say that what business light have with darkness? Hate is darkness, right? Evil is darkness. Light is love. Light is righteousness. You can't be a person that gossips. You can't be a person that talk behind people's back. You can't be a person that gets angry and frustrated. All those emotions will keep you from having love, truthfully, in your heart. Because those emotions are going to create bitterness. They're going to create resentment. They're going to create frustration. They're going to create evil surmise. They're going to create imaginations that are not true. These emotions, anger, frustration, you know, impatience, lack of compassion, all these emotions are going to create you to have hate, bitterness, dislike. And those are all grouped up with the word hate. They're the opposite of love. You are just functioning as a human being because God brought you into this world. When you came into this world, you never signed a contract and said, hey, God, I'm going to do whatever you asked me to do. You just came into the world and you was born and you was taught whatever. You wasn't taught the love of God. You heard your parents telling you, oh, I love you. I'm so happy you're here, etc., etc., etc. Many parents raise their children in obligation. They don't have love. They know that they're obligated to take care of their children. Many people don't want to look like bad people. They don't want to look like people, right, that are wicked and evil. So they want people to see them in a good light. Think about it, right? Let's look at what the word says. Matthew 5:44. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. Who is doing that besides the people who genuinely have the Holy Spirit? You sit here and hear all these false pastors and false Christians tell you how much they are affected by people that use them, people that abuse them, people that took advantage of them. They'll sit there and tell you how they are affected. You know, they're upset. You know, God going to take me to a different level. They don't ignore it. They never ignore it. You never see them ever say, you know, it is what it is. They always make a long fake sermon about it. They make a gospel song about it. They are affected by it. That's why they talk about it. One way you know people are troubled by something is when they talk about it, right? When they're affected by it. A person that is mature, a person that is spiritual, a person that is truly, you know, born again is not going to be affected by what people are saying or doing because they have been educated and they have been taken to a place in God to where they know that it rests not against flesh and blood and that these people are choosing to be in darkness. That's like us sitting here saying, man, I keep trying to talk to Satan, but he don't want to listen. The Bible calls Satan a murderer, call him a liar, a deceiver, you know, the serpent, you know, all these names he have. Can you imagine yourself talking to a murderer, a deceiver, a liar? You know, they say when he speaks a lie. Can you expect to sit here and talk with a liar like the devil and he gonna speak truth to you? Do you expect that? Do you expect to have a conversation with the devil where the Bible say when he speaketh, he speak of a lie? He's a deceiver. Do you expect to speak to a liar, a habitual liar, and expect them to have a good conversation with you? So any person that understands that that person's a liar will ignore that person. A person that's a liar is not going to speak truth unto you. So you see, these false Christians do not the people in the world as well don't understand. They don't understand that it's darkness that is motivating these people, and they giving into it. What do you see people loving their enemies? People will sit there and be angry. People use the Bible as a safety net. They'll get mad and be like, you know, but God told me I don't like what I done heard T.D. Jakes and all of them be like, I ain't gonna forget what you did. You know, because me remembering what you did gonna protect me from, you know, how you gonna try to take advantage of me later. That is so unbiblical and the opposite of what the word is saying. Peter asked Jesus, he said, how many times shall I forgive my brother? He said 7 times, 7 times 70. You never see believers in the New Testament ever preaching and talking and teaching the way these false Christians do. You never see them talking about your haters, how God going to take them away from you and God going to elevate you. You never see that. They sit there and say, love your enemies. They say, admonish him as a brother, right? They're sitting here. They want you to show them people love, no matter if they choose to do you wrong, disrespect you. They want you to show love because you can't react and retaliate the way they are. How's that going to bring them to God? How's that going to show them God in your life? How's that showing that you have faith by trusting in God? Listen, we're not stupid, right? I'm talking about true Christians. We're not just puppets on strings. You follow me? We understand why it's important to have faith and to do it that way. We're just more intelligent than the average person who's not a believer of God. We just have more understanding, more wisdom. A person have to do it the hard way. You want to, you know, figure it out your way and do it your way instead of doing it God's way. We're just intelligent. We know that God knows more than us. We know that his way is the best way. You can't tell me that war is better than peace. You can't tell me that hate is better than love. You can't tell me when you feel some type of way around somebody. You feel some way about somebody that's around you. It makes you feel uncomfortable. Even when you fight with your wife or you fight with your girlfriend or your friends, you see how fun, you know, you got to try to avoid them when they come in the kitchen, or you try to, you know, not talk. You got 1,000 thoughts in your mind right now that you want to talk to that person about, you want to speak to them about, but because of your bitterness and your pride and your stubbornness, you just going to go without talking because you want to make your point. You want to show them I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm not happy. I want them to know. I don't want to speak to them and give in and they think that they can just run over top of me. I don't want to speak and give in and they think that, you know, how they hurt me or how I felt, how they made me feel, you know, I'm just over it. I want them to know that I'm mad. I want them to be angry. I want them to apologize to me 1,000 times. Where's the word apology in the New Testament? I'm just asking you. Where do people say I'm sorry? I'm just saying, where do you see it at? This is the world that's teaching these things. That's why I'm telling you don't know love. That ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and the unjust. For if you love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? And if you salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? Be ye perfect, even as your Father which in heaven is perfect. 1 Corinthians 13. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, which is love, I become a sounding brass of tinkling. You see, so that means you can do all this stuff, but if love is not there, it's purposeless. I'm telling you. So he's showing you that you can act in all these ways, right? Having an understanding that, okay, for instance, you got people that will do people wrong, right? And they'll beat them to apologize, but they're constantly still doing wrong. That person is a manipulator. And that person understands what humility is, right? Even though they don't walk in humility, they comprehend humility. So they understand, well, if I show this person, if I tell this person that I'm sorry, or if I tell this person that, I shouldn't have did what I did, or, this, whatever the case may be, they're not truly sorry. They understand that sorry is a way that people express remorse for whatever they done or whatever took place. So people can understand that the word sorry is expressed to show remorse or to accept responsibility for a person's action or whatever they did, right? So a person can abuse that. Just think about it. You could let somebody, somebody could say, hey man, I just, my car is down, right? And you like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let you go. You could just borrow my car, right? And then they bring it back. So now they're not motivated to get their car fixed. They got the money to get it fixed, but since they can use your car and manipulate you, and they understand that, you're letting them use it, they will just use the money to go buy clothes and go buy shoes and just keep driving your car. So they understand that if I tell this person that I need assistance, I need help, they're going to let me drive this vehicle. You see what I'm trying to explain to you about manipulation? So people understand that I can say things and do things, and I'm able to get particular things from people. I'm able to manipulate these people. You understand? So this is why I'm telling you about love. This is why you got people. If I'm not telling y'all facts, let's bring up the word cheating. Okay? Let's bring up the word cheating in a relationship. If a woman is going out behind her man's back, her husband, a husband is going out behind his wife's back, right? When that person is, just say that person went to a hotel room, she fornicated, he fornicated, whatever the case may be. What does that person come back at home and act like? They love that person, right? They'll come and buy them gifts, take them out. They'll kiss on them. They might even, make love to them because they're acting what they feel and believe is love. But how can it be love, which is an intense feeling of deep affection? You understand? An intense feeling of deep affection. If a person really felt that, why would they do something that can cause their significant other maybe to go into depression, maybe to commit suicide, or maybe even to hurt them or somebody else? Why, if they love that person, then why would they jeopardize their family for a one-night stand? If they truly love the person, then why would they put them through that type of pain and that type of trauma once it's discovered or made known to the other person that they cheated on them? Come on now. Because we all came into this world, right? And our conscience came from righteousness. Our conscience came from God. Marriage started with the believers of God first in the book of Genesis, way before other nations even got discovered. So people were copying and mimicking certain things. They don't understand what love truly means. They don't know what rules, right? What stipulations, what grace, what wisdom is given in order to marry a person and to be in true love with them. You understand? You can't love somebody. Like, for instance, you got people that's married and they will talk about their wife or their husband or boyfriend and girlfriend, if they're not married, behind that person's back. Let me ask y'all a question. You got wives that be like, man, I just wish my husband would get a job. He just acting like a bum and, I just care for him. But how can you care for somebody like that? How can you say you love somebody? You understand? A lot of 99% of these marriages that are in the world are built off of lust. You understand? It's not love. That's why people don't be patient. They don't be compassionate. They want people to be the way they want them to be. If you take away, like, you got people that got all these Instagram pages where, or these YouTube channels. If you take away all the shopping trips and the VIP sections and the expensive cars. People wouldn't even know how to function. They wouldn't know how to function. You take away them fornicating or making love, they don't got a relationship. The relationship is controlled by money and by the world and earthly pleasures. That's what brings them, you know, a false sense of joy and a false sense of peace, right? You see? So this is why I'm explaining to y'all. If you look at relationships today, especially on Instagram, they always say power couples, right? When they make their relationship known to the world, and it seems like, you know, they're happy, right? They're posting pictures wearing the same jerseys, him and hers. Like, just think about that stuff. Like, why do you got to do all of that to express your love? Because they are being motivated. You got to understand what pride does and what motivation does to people. When you are being motivated, getting pats on the back, getting compliments, that fuels you to seek more attention in that area. If you walk around with your shirt off and you got some slight muscles and somebody give you a compliment, you know, if you go to a gym and you come back and you be like, man, how I look, you know, you got all this extra fat, and somebody says, man, you know, I see your muscles right there. You can't tell that person nothing. That person is going to be 300 pounds overweight, going to the gym with a bodybuilder tank top, stomach hanging out, you know, hanging out way past, you know, his belt line. You understand? Look like he's pregnant with twins. You can't tell him anything. You see my point? That's how pride works. That's how, you know, motivation works. So when you're looking at these couples on Instagram and looking at these people on YouTube, they're always doing stuff. They're either pranking each other, you know, they're doing all this extra stuff. That's not no relationship. That ain't, you don't see that in the Bible where people were doing all this worldly stuff to keep excitement and entertainment going on in a relationship. Oh, today we're going to go buy a dirt bike. Today we're going to, you know, go buy a new car. Oh, today we're going to go try, we're going to do the one chip challenge. Oh, today we're going to go try to we're going to eat at the worst hood place in California. Oh, today we're going to eat, you know, the most greasiest place in New York. Like it's content. How's that love? They're being motivated by the likes. When they take that picture, because let me explain something to you, how Satan works. There are more people that are single than there are people that's married, right? So when you see people together and they're expressing love, right, what the world believes is love, you don't see that often. So them people are going to immediately get put into the spotlight and say, oh, look at this power couple, right? Look at this power couple. And according to what you feel is a power couple and you feel is a good relationship, then you're going to say, hey, they're good people. They have a good relationship. They got a good marriage. But you don't see what's going on behind closed doors. You don't see that in God's eyes, it's not a good marriage. It's not a good relationship. They both have lust. Other one is wearing, you know, clothes, showing off their body. You know, other one has pride, insecurities, you know, depression, all different type of stuff. You just see two people that's choosing to stay together. Some people want a divorce. Some people want to separate. But because reputation, they don't do it. They don't want to be a divorced person. They don't want to be a person that can't keep a man. They don't want to be a person that, you know, and a lot of people got pride. A lot of women don't want to accept the fact that there's other women out here that, you know, their significant other might feel is prettier, might feel treats them better, right? I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is right. I'm saying, but a lot of women are delusional and a lot of men are delusional and they can't handle rejection, or they can't handle the fact that, you know, there's another man that their significant other might be interested in, right? So they don't want to lose a relationship because they don't want to be that person who has to accept the reality that they couldn't keep a woman or their woman, or they could keep a man and the man or the woman left them for somebody else. Now I'm going to fight for my marriage. I'm going to do whatever, you know, they, you know, you got to think what comes with that. You understand? You got people that's celebrities and they done had their love, they done had their wife with them, and wife done came to family reunions and Christmases, and now, you know, that wife is going to be gone. Her husband's going to be gone. You got to think how that's going to affect somebody when they come around, you know, and they always been called the power couple. They always been called, you know, the inspiring couple. Now they're separating. So a lot of people will just put up with it because they don't want to have the reputation of not being, you know, a power couple or being married, right? So that's what I'm trying to make to y'all. So look at what it says. Though I speak with tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I become as sounding brass or of tinkling cymbal. You see that? Just making noise. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profit me nothing. You see that? So all that stuff y'all see in the world today, y'all be like, oh, these people, they showing so much love and they're restoring faith in humanity. No, they not. A lot of people do that for recognition. A lot of people do it because they make them feel that they're good people. A lot of people do it. That's why a lot of times you see videos on YouTube and stuff where they giving out money. They always recording it. They want you to see what you're doing. They go in them comment section and they read them comments. Even the YouTubers be saying, like and subscribe and comment. Let me know what y'all want to see. Let me know what kind of content y'all want me to start making. Let me know, you know, how y'all feel, you know, about this. They want that interaction. They're not motivated because they genuinely, the Bible say, you know, don't give in secret and your Father rewards you openly. He talked about that in the 4 Gospels, you know, praying all out in front of people, sounding trumpets and all this stuff when you're giving something. That's what they doing. It's the same thing. Even the false preachers, they get online and look, we gave somebody a scholarship. We gave this. Yeah, that's what they tricking you for. That's why people in the world that claim to be Christians have been deceived by the devil, because they think by giving tithes and offerings, they're going to receive power from my master. That's why they think it. They've been tricked into believing that. Oh, if you give money, you're going to be blessed. If you give money, tithes and offerings, you're going to, God's going to bless you. They think they're going to receive power. They're going to receive a miracle, signs and wonders, be more anointed, grow in faith. They've been tricked. That's why it never works, right? And they believe what they want to believe, but they never get what they asking for. So look what it's saying, though, and then it says, charity suffer long. Look at that. See, look, this is love now. Listen what it say. So why y'all divorce? Why you separate? Why you say, I'm tired of you? You see? Y'all don't know love. I told you. With everything. I'm tired of my kids. Tired of my wife. Tired of my girl. You know, I'm just tired of my job. I'm just this and that. You can't be a Christian. You don't have the endurance. You understand? You're going to meet so many people in the world that's going to be different. That's not going to come from stable backgrounds like you came from. Or some who come from stable backgrounds like, that you didn't come from. It's different walks of life. Look what it says. Charity suffer long and is kind. What about everybody that be unkind? What about people that be unkind? People be rude, sarcastic, disrespectful. How you got love? You don't. That's why it's saying love doesn't do this. You understand? You've been taught to function in the world. You grew up just like the other people in the Bible days knew of God, but wasn't a child of God. Jericho, Philistines, all these different nations knew of God, right? Even Paul said, you guys are superstitious, talking about to the unknown God. How they knew of God. I told you, it's been talked around, it's been talked, and many people have taught it falsely because it once originally was in the hands of righteous people. And a lot of people who was unrighteous got a hold to it and twisted everything around. Charity suffer long and is kind. Charity envy not. Charity vaineth not. Vauneth not itself. It's not puffed up. That means doesn't have pride. Does not behave itself unseemly. Come on now. Seeketh not her own. Is not easily provoked. Thinketh no evil. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear these people telling you that when they're in the world, oh, I didn't like that. Look at how many celebrities will tweet something and then take the tweet down. Look at how many times people go off on videos and then apologize later. They don't have love. Okay, I'm gonna show you what love looks like in scripture, and I'm gonna show you the secret of why love is so important. And even the Bible tells you why it's so important. Just watch, we'll get to it. Does not seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. You see that? Rejoicing not in iniquity, but rejoicing in truth. Bearing all things, believing all things. You see that? So you see when people are living worldly and doing things they're not supposed to do, they're rejoicing in evil. They're finding pleasure in evil. Right? Rejoicing not in iniquity, but rejoicing in truth. Bearing all things, believing all things, hoping all things, enduring all things. You see that? How many people tell you that the Bible's been altered that claim to be Christians? How many people tell you that the Bible, you need to read it in Greek or read it in Hebrew? How many tell you that, you know, you need to call Jesus Yahshua? How many people make up so many things about the Bible? They don't have love. Look what it says. Bearing all things, believing all things, hoping all things, enduring all things. They talking about the word, y'all. They're talking about the word. You understand? Believing all things. They don't believe. That's why they question it. Oh, the Bible's been altered. The Bible's been changed. Paul wasn't saying that. You got to read it in context. That's not what it means. No. You know, you got to read it in Greek. You got to read it in the Hebrew. See? They ain't got love. Look. They shall, charity never faileth. You see that? But whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, that means born again, I put away what? Childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. And now abideth faith, hope, charity. These three, but the greatest of these is what? Love. Okay? Romans 12 and 14. Let love be without dissimulation. Right? Arbor that which is evil and cleave to that which is good. Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. You're not seeing this today in none of these false churches. You're not seeing this today even in the world. Look at the presidential the presidential race. Look at how they throwing all this stuff on people. Oh yeah, this person hates America. This person's that. Look at how the stuff they be saying. That's not no love, man. You understand? Be kindly affectionate one to another. You see that? With brotherly love, honor, prefer one another. But you see when you don't, look what happens. Name callings, offenses, disrespect, saying things that you can't take back, right? Building up hatred amongst in the hearts of others. Your followers, Trump got his followers, the lady got her followers, and they both are throwing shots at each other, you know, so to speak. You understand? With words. And people that siding with, remember Trump spoke of, you know, when he had that long speech, and a lot of people were moved when he spoke the things he spoke, and that's why the Capitol was overrun. And, you know, a person died. People was injured. A lot of things happened just off of words. So you see why the Bible is telling you, you know, especially people that's leaders and have positions of power, it's dangerous. The Bible talks about the tongue, you know. It talks about how the boat has a small part, but it controls the whole boat, right? Like a propeller, you know, a rudder. Like, just think about it. One little move of left or right, the boat goes in direction where it's being steered, right? But the part that's controlling the boat to move is smaller than the rest of the boat. That's what the tongue does. See, that tongue is so little, but it's powerful. Not slothful in business. Brotherly love and honor, prefer one another. Not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, distributing to the necessity of the saints, giving hospitality. You are not seeing that. You see what I'm trying to say? They're not distributing to the saints, right? And they're not distributing to the necessity of the saints. They're giving it to the pastor, right? And giving hospitality. It's completely the opposite because they don't know love. That's why they create their own system that's the opposite of all that we're reading, because the only way you can obey this and do this is by having love and loving Jesus. We're going to see that, okay? Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not. Look at all these gospel songs. You know, truth is, I'm tired, I'm church hurt. You ain't never seen Christians talk that way. That's why the people in Christianity are the only ones who talk that way. Rejoice with them that rejoice, and weep with them that weep. Be of the same mind one toward another. Mind not high things, but consider to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceit. See that? That's why all people that's up here just getting on YouTube, getting on Facebook, getting on Instagram, just saying whatever they want to say. You know, whatever benefits them, whatever brings them, you know, clout or reputation, they just speak whatever. Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. You see that? If it be possible, as much as it lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. Therefore, if thy enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. Be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. See love? You're not seeing that today. Them false pastors telling you that God gonna get your haters out your circle. God, the Bible said, right? Therefore, if thy enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. You see that? But they telling you get, they get away from those people. You know, they negative, they this, they that. You see? Because they can't do what this word say because they don't have love. The world can't live in harmony and in peace without these laws. Police officers patrolling the streets. Why do you think you got officers patrolling the streets? Why do you think you have laws? To keep people who are ungodly and unrighteous in order, or to put fear in them to walk the straight line. You understand? And people still break the rules. Look at how many times you drive down the street. Count how many times you see a speed limit sign. If you were to look up how many speed limit signs are in the country, in America, I mean, it's probably millions. You understand? And people still ignore those street signs. You think it's hard to understand how people don't have love when they don't even obey the laws? They don't even love the planet. They litter. They throw trash. You understand? They don't take care of their belongings. They don't take care of their houses, their yards. You know, they don't even take care of themselves. You got people walking to the store, going inside the store with dirty shoes on, dirty shoestrings, stains on their clothes, dirty clothes. They're not even taking care of themselves. They don't even have love for themselves. You understand? They don't even have love for their vehicles. They don't even wash their car. They don't even, dry off their car. They don't even clean the inside of their car. They have no love and no concern for these particular things. These are facts, brothers and sisters. You see what I'm telling you? So it's not love that people have. They just have an understanding that I got to live in this world and there's rules and regulations. And I don't want to seem like a bad person. So I'm going to say I love this person. I'm going to say I care for this person. But truthfully, they don't have that love and concern. Because how can you love a particular person or a child and then look at a stranger in the bad light? Don't want to talk, don't want to speak, don't want to have anything to do with particular races. And you stereotype. You look at people, he looks like a thug, or he looks like, a perverted person, or I don't like white people like that. My mom always told me. See? It comes from our family members, our parents. Because when you look at children at playgrounds, they don't know black and white. They're just playing. It's a learned behavior. You have to be taught that stuff. But you're still human. So just think about it. Woman has a vagina. A man has a penis. So how else can you come together and, be with someone and they feel like they want to be with you if you don't portray what, you believe is love? What you believe is an affection. You can't come somebody, give me your number. I'm going to fight you every day. I'm going to slap you. Then how are you going to be able to make love to a woman often? How you going to have a woman cook for you and, do this, iron your clothes? How you going to have a man, provide for you, take care of you, protect you, whatever, if you just walk around aggressively? So they understand that righteousness is more accepted than unrighteousness. That's why they portray themselves as being in love or having this affection for the opposite sex. But that's why cheating comes in. That's why they lie. They deceive. They want money. They do things behind the person's back. You know, they say things that put them down. They slander their husband. They slander their wife. They talk about their body, talk about how they look, because they don't have love. But they understand, in order for me to have this feeling that I want to have, in order for me to have benefits, in order for me to have in-house vagina, in-house penis, I have to marry somebody. You know, I'm tired of, you know, being out there. I don't really like getting out. I'm an introvert, whatever the case may be. So they look at the benefit that comes from behind being married. They marry these trophy women, you know, they got these surgeries, or they got these bodies that the world praise, and they want to show, I got a dime, I got a number 10, I got a bad wife, I got the high school queen, you know, and look at me. Y'all couldn't do it and I did it. It's pride. It's all motivated by pride. That's why they'll disrespect them. They'll be sarcastic. They'll call them names. I'm talking about on both sides, men and women. You'll see them arguing. They'll be fighting, right? But they like that benefit. They like to have that person sitting with them, right? Because it's a distraction of what's really going on in their life. That's the reality. Why do you think you see people, men to be out looking at other women, talking to other women, you know, flirting with them, and then they'll just come back home and act like they didn't do none of those type of things? That's love? Or is that insanity? Or is that because you're forced to be here as a human being? So, you know, you have your conscience, which came from righteousness, but it's defiled. So that means your body, your mind understands, hey, I should be married. I should be with someone, because it's hardwired inside of you. That's a fact. That's why even people that are homosexual, they marry the same sex. You see men marry men, women marry women. Where does that come from? They are going completely against the grain of how they were created and how they was made. Two people that's the same sex can't make life. They can't have kids. They need someone else from the opposite sex in order to have a child, right or wrong, right? But for some reason, these people who are going against the grain of how they were created and how they're supposed to function by marrying the same sex, they still want, I mean, by being with the same sex, they still get married. And that, you know, you didn't see marriage in the Bible. Marriage in old time was never with a man and a man or a woman and a woman. Come on now. So what y'all not hearing what I'm telling you? God set the standard for life. That's why even people that's homosexual will copy the things that were designed for a man and a woman only. So unbelievers will copy what was set for believers in the Bible, because that's how popular, that's how amazing, that's how transcending God's word is. You understand? So they copy. The Bible said in Jeremiah, they steal his words. They want to look like that because they see a man, they see a woman, they see a family, and it brings much praises to those people. So a lot of people are marrying because they want to seem like they got together. They want to seem like, you know, they want the praises. They want to, you know, have that Brady Bunch family. You understand? Every time you see shows with a husband and wife, the Cosby shows, you know, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know, Little House on the Prairie, Seven Heaven, you always see them together and they look happy. People praising them, right? Patting them on the back. People understand that the things of God, right, are attractive. The things of God to people, you know, bring attention. When people see your kids well behaved, people tell us all the time, your kids are so well behaved. We're not out there looking for pats on the back. They like that because of the word of God and because they don't see their parents, me and Courtney, fighting, arguing. They never seen us fight. We never got physical. They never seen those things. They would think something is wrong if we was acting out in that kind of way. We don't live that way. So they wouldn't know how to understand. You understand? Whenever our kids walk, whenever we take our kids places and they hear rap music or into music, it could be country, they all say worldly music and bad music. We done walked inside of stores, right? And they'll be like, that's bad music. And they'll cut it down. I'm telling you, man, City Trends, a sneaker store, anywhere. And they got that music playing. The kids will say it straight up. That's bad music, Mom. Bad music, Dad. See what I'm saying? Courtney said Naomi saw us hug this morning and started giving us both hugs right after. Yeah, Sarah even said it. I heard him say it too while on the phone with you. I'm telling you, Sarah called me every day. I'm not going to tell nobody no lies, man. You don't see how, our kids never celebrated Christmas or holidays. They don't know what it's like to have anxiety. They don't know what it's like to have lust or covetousness. We protected them from that. That's the biggest, we got one shot at this, getting these kids into heaven and to receive these awards that God has for us. That's the biggest responsibility that God can give you, is by directing and guiding and leading little lives that are children. They mean so much to God because they are the future. And how you raise them, how you teach them are going to determine how they're going to be in the future. A lot of serial killers, their parents. A lot of murderers, their parents. A lot of drug dealers, their parents. A lot of racist people, their parents. A lot of vicious people, their parents. And not having grace, God's grace and protection in their life. That's a fact. Our kids don't know what other kids know. They don't know. Our kids will tell if they see things that's wrong, right? But the world will say they snitches. But they're truth tellers, not a snitch. See the difference? So the world teaches you that when you tell the truth, you're a bad person. If you go in the courtroom and tell on somebody, you a snitch. That's what the world say, right? But see, us as believers, when we don't go to court, or we want to, recommend nobody go to court, the Bible says we don't go to court. But they're just telling the truth. Hey, I seen this person do this, and I seen him do that. Oh, you're a snitch. Like, what is a snitch? Like, what does a snitch even mean? Like, is that like a ghetto dictionary word? Think about it. They made a word. They try to make up a word that means telling the truth, and they call it snitch. So it gets looked at in a bad light. They call a person who is snitch is a rat. They call a cop a pig. You see the world that we live in, how stupid people that's unbelievers are? They make up words that don't even make, they make up words and give it their own meanings. I don't know, from a can of paint. Oh, that food was fire right there. That food was the bomb. Like, what? But that's the world. They're foolish. That's what the Bible will tell you, the foolishness of the world. The foolishness of the world. You see, they stupid. They sit here and call a snitch. What other word does snitch mean other than what that word mean? Like, are they saying, they're not saying stitches, right? Like, they're not saying a stitch. What is snitch? Like, is that a word that's outside of a person telling in the courtroom? Or they say he's a rat. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're telling the truth. That's how you know the world is wicked. Because they don't want you to tell the truth. They don't want you to tell that somebody did wrong. But the same person who said they don't believe in snitching and they don't believe in rats, if they on a cruise or they go out of country and somebody break in their house, who do you think they're going to call when they get back in town? Not the Ghostbusters. They're going to make a police report. They're going to call the cops. You see what I'm saying? They try to make up rules. The streets gonna always make up rules to say this and that, this is good and this is bad. Because it's made up by delusion. It's made up by false. That's why it's ever changing. No, it's not snitching if a civilian tells on somebody. If a civilian tells on somebody, it's not snitching. But if a person that's in the streets and that's a gangster, that's snitching. You know what I'm saying? So you can't tell the truth in this world. You see why the Bible not accepted? It's called the knowledge of the truth for a reason. They're telling you, if you go on the stand and point somebody out and say, this person, this and did that, he's a snitch. So that means that telling the truth in many places in the world is not accepted. That's right. Sarah said people on their deathbed, they cry out to God. I'm telling you, because you're hardwired. You were taught this, man. You don't understand. There are 2 billion false Christians on this earth. They have influenced the world with their lies and their tricks. Remember, people trying to buy their way into heaven. People trying to buy the power of God, like Simon the sorcerer. This is what it is. All our parents, they all was raised in Christianity. Name one person in America that hasn't heard of Jesus or God. There's churches on every corner. Come on, man. They're everywhere. And they stand for what they stand for, and they believe in what they believe. People don't know love, I'm telling you. That's why, look what it says. It says right here. I got 12%. Okay. 1 Peter 4:8. Above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Y'all hear that? What are they telling you now? Are they saying that if you have love, if you sin, it'll cover it? No. What does love mean again, y'all? An intense feeling of deep affection. So when you have that intense feeling of deep affection towards strangers that's driving their car, when you go in the grocery store, when you go through a fast food drive-through, when you go inside a restaurant and someone is having a bad day, the server, is seeming as if they have, something going on inside of them. You call it an attitude, right? Or if you're on the phone with somebody and they say something that could be possibly taken as an offense or disrespect, or, when, you're going around, you see somebody sagging their pants, the young guys, or somebody playing, loud music or whatever the case may be. All these things that you don't like will move you, motivate you to have negative thoughts and have a negative impact on your mind, to where you'll start saying, I don't know why she got them tight pants on. I don't know why she got all her breasts out. I don't know why she got an attitude. You ain't got, I ain't tell you to work at McDonald's. You see that? If you have love, it will cover a multitude of sins. That means that you won't be committing those sins, because love will not allow you to think that way. Let's go back to the top. Let's go back. Let's go back to the top. Okay? Charity suffer long and is kind. Charity envy not. Charity vaineth not. Vain not itself, is not puffed up, does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoicing not in iniquity, but rejoicing in truth. Do y'all see that? You see why they saying that love covers multitude of sin? So how can you be bearing all things, believing all things, hoping all things? How can you suffer long? How can you be kind? How can you envy not? How can you vaineth not itself? How come you not puffed up in pride? Does not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Come on now. Come on now. Bearing all things, believing all things, hoping in all things, enduring all things. So whether they got an attitude, whether they calling you a name, whether they're expecting you, endure it. The Bible say, do good to the froward, convince the gainsayers. These are difficult people. You see why I'm telling you that people don't have love? Not the way God has taught us. They have a false version of love. They are just living civil, right? They're living what the world says is ethical, but it's not love. Because in this world, you can be a complete racist and hateful person, and your neighbor will never know it, because you never spoke to them, because you don't like their color of their skin. You don't like what kind of car they drive. You jealous that when they, their wife is skinny and your wife is overweight. Or you jealous because the husband got muscles and you don't. You see, you never speak to them, but nobody will ever think this person is racist. This person has hate in their heart. This person's a gossiper, because they never heard him gossip. They'll say, oh yeah, my neighbor, look, the person who got the muscles and got the wife that's in shape or whatever. Look, somebody gonna come and say, oh, we're looking to move into the neighborhood. How is your neighbor next door? This person don't even know the neighbor is racist and look at them in a bad light and gossip about them. No, they're gonna say, because it hasn't been made known to them, the people that they gossip about, oh, they're good people. They mind their business. They don't bother nobody. Yeah, see? Because you only have a slight bit of knowledge of understanding. You don't have the knowledge that come with God. Because the knowledge that God gives you, if a person was a lover of God and they had love in their heart, they would have came over and introduced themselves. They would have came over and greeted you, right? Shook your hand, brought forth some goods. made themselves available, gave you their phone number. Hey, whenever you leave, want me to watch your house? I'll watch it. Hey, you know, if you ever need anything, my wife grows vegetables. She grows tomatoes. You guys can get some. Hey, we're running to Walmart. We're going to grab some things. You need anything? That's how Christians operate. So see, a person who's in the world, they don't even know what love looks like or what a good neighbor looks like. You understand? The Bible says they went from house to house daily. They was hospitable. You understanding? You're not seeing that. So even the neighbor that they gossip about, they're going to, when somebody come in the neighborhood and they like, hey, I'm just here at the neighborhood. How's your neighbors? How people over here? You know? Oh, it's just a quiet couple. They mind their business. But you don't know that couple be on the phone every day. I can't stand that young couple next to me. You know, he in shape. He just want to walk around with them tight fitting shirts that he be wearing. And then she look like a hoochie mama, you know, walking around, you know, because she in shape. You know, ain't nobody got to be that in shape. You ain't got to be that physical fit. I bet she don't eat nothing. I bet she eat like a deer. Matter of fact, she an omnivore. I ain't going to be mad at her. God done blessed us to eat whatever we want. She not going to shame me with that little waist and them little arms and, you know, her 6-pack abs. You know, she trying to get attention. I bet she cheating on her husband. I bet she not faithful. Ain't nobody going to look like that and want to be married to one man. I'm telling you, they do it. Even the false Christians, they do it because they don't have love in their heart. Love would have made them come over there next door and open their house. They would have said, my casa es su casa. You understand? So they don't understand. The people that are gossiping and the ones who are getting gossip on, they don't even understand love. They're just going off of, oh, the neighbor hasn't said anything racist. The neighbor hasn't done anything racist. The neighbor hasn't disrespected me verbally. So they gonna give them a good report. That's why people in the world think that people are not as wicked and evil as they are. Because people understand that many things that they will say, many things that they will communicate, many things that they will tell people will not be accepted and could possibly make them lose their jobs. And even today, the internet's not playing. You know, when you saying something racist or you saying the N-word or you doing whatever, the internet is not playing. You see what happened at Riverboat? They're contacting your job. People getting fired. They had a guy that was on a dating site popping a balloon, and he ended up getting all this hate and stuff like that. Say he got fired from his job. He was a plumber. Whatever the case may be, the internet's not playing. So people understand, hey, if I, you know, really speak how I feel, it's going to destroy my reputation. I can get fired. You know, people can not want to be my friends, you know, look at me in a bad light. So people will just stay up on their radar. So the world going to do statistics and say, oh, he doesn't go to jail. Law abiding. Oh, he hasn't committed any crimes. They're a good person. They mind their business. But in God's eyes, you a hater. The Bible says you hate your brother. In God's eyes, you're a murderer. Because the Bible says if you hate your brother, you're a murderer at heart. Come on now. You got many men in your neighborhood that's lusting. But you say, oh, that my neighbor downstairs in my apartment complex, he just mind his business. Yeah, he watching pornography every day, right? Looking at women at the pool, walking around the neighborhood, you know, having sexual thoughts of who he going to fornicate with. But in your eyes, he's a good neighbor downstairs because he don't bother you. He don't do anything. But in God's eyes, this is what birthed out perversion. This is what birthed out sexual morality. This is what birthed out child molestation. This is what birthed out raping. Remember, in order for someone to molest a child or rape a woman or grope a woman, lust had to be there first. Then it grows into perversion. It grows to be more intense, to be more stronger. And then the person goes further as their conscience get defiled. And now they molest a child, or now they do some type of perverted type of thing. Rape a woman or sexually assault a woman, you know, or touch a woman inappropriately. Because it all started with lust. But your neighbor downstairs in that apartment, he a good guy. That woman's a good woman. You know, I can't believe she got raped. You know, she minds her business. Yeah, but she dancing on the weekends at a strip club. You know, she's going to parties and popping mollies and drinking liquor. You know, asking for men to buy her drinks. And then now she went to a hotel room with someone fornicating. But in your eyes, she was innocent. She was a good person. But the Bible said to abstain from all appearance of evil. Liquor is evil. Clubs is evil. You know, unmarried men that's promoting unrighteousness, it's evil. The same with women. The Bible said to abstain from all appearance of evil. And it said to have no fellowship when food were done, rather reprove them. You see what I'm trying to say? So she got kidnapped. She went to go see a guy. She went to go see a guy who don't live for the Lord. Don't see a guy who live righteous and godly, because that guy is not going to be trying to meet up and link up with her and trying to do all this other stuff that they're not supposed to do, because the Bible speaks against it. But y'all saying, oh, she graduated, she was in college, this is a senseless act. This is an act that happens when you live apart from God, because the world doesn't know love. If the man knew love, he wouldn't have killed that woman, raped that woman, or kidnapped her, knowing that that woman is a child, a creature that God created, knowing that he didn't give that person life. So how can he take it? He doesn't have love. People do not have love. They don't care that they're going to molest this child and the child's going to be traumatized later on in life. They don't have love. Love is an intense feeling, a deep affection. It doesn't allow you to do that. You understand me? Doesn't allow you to do those type of things. Speak in those ways. Gossip. You are slandering a creation of God. You did not make that heavy set person. You didn't make that skinny person. You ain't make that person with the big gap in their mouth or the big teeth or, nappy hair. Whatever you're saying derogatory about that person, you didn't put that hair on their head. You don't even understand the complexity, right? What it takes to make a human being. So how dare you going to sit here and talk down on something that God created, that he made, that the Bible say that we're his workmanship. You understand? You're going to sit here, somebody put hard work making something, and because it doesn't fit your unrighteous and wicked and devilish standards, you're going to sit here and speak down on it. Don't even know what it means to create life. You ain't blow breath in nobody's lungs and gave them life. You understand? You didn't form them from dust. You don't know what it takes to make a body. So how are you going to disrespect it and look at it like it's not nothing when it comes from God? That's a devil in you. The only thing that despises God's creation is the devil. The only person that wants God's creation to come to hell with him is the devil. The only thing that wants to steal, kill, and destroy is the devil. And you see it all through human beings. You see it through gang violence. You see it through shootings. You see it through wars. Steal, kill, and destroy is being lived out through unbelievers who don't live for God. And Satan is working through them to fulfill all those things the Bible say that he will do. He steals, he kills, and he destroys. And you see all this stuff being done through these military leaders, through these gang members, right? Through these people who are committing crimes, through the cartel workers. They stealing people's stuff. They stealing people's lives. They're killing them. They're destroying communities. They're destroying relationships. They're destroying families. They're creating division. Satan is working through the lives of these non-believing people, even in Christianity. He's creating division, separation, non-denominations, denominations, everything. Satan is busy causing the world to be divided and not function and operate the way that God made them. That's a fact. That's what Satan is doing. And when you don't understand what sin is, and you want to sit here and talk about we all sin, we all make mistakes, the same sin you committed is somebody else committed and they killed somebody. The same sin you committed, somebody else committed and raped somebody. That same lust that you committed, somebody committed and molested a child. That's a fact. So when you want to sit here and talk about, I'm not where I need to be, I'm not where I used to be, those same sins is what is destroying the world. That's a fact. Just because yours might not went further, you might have got away with it. There's people in this world that are sinning the same way you are, and that's what is destroying lives, destroying families, destroying relationships, doing all this type of stuff. Sin is the bitter root of sorrow. That's the fact. So when you sin is a cancer. It's a plague. It's a wrecking ball. Nothing good comes from sin. That's a fact. Stop acting like you can't control yourself. Stop acting like something is making you to sin. Nowhere in the Bible was Satan able to make anybody sin. Satan suggested the sin. Satan came and told him about particular things. And that was it. It never said that Satan forced anybody. It never said that we didn't have control. Way back in Genesis 4, the 4th chapter in the first book in the Bible, God spoke to a man named Cain. And he gave Cain an option. He said, Cain, if you do what's right, you'll be accepted. But if you don't do what's right, then what? Sin will do what? Y'all read it for yourself. You follow me? We had a choice way back in Genesis 4. Let's go back to Genesis. Let's go back to Genesis 3. When Satan came to Eve and he presented his temptation, the Bible never said that he forced Eve to grab the forbidden fruit. The Bible never said that he made Eve grab the forbidden fruit. The Bible said after they talked, she looked at it. After the conversation, let me explain to you what happened spiritually. I only got 4%, so I'll try to get through it. But if not, I love you all. Well, let me explain to you what happened. Let me say to you what happened in Genesis and how Satan works. Okay? God already tells you that these things is wrong. That's why the Bible say to cast down imaginations and every high thing that is also against the knowledge of God, right? Bringing every thought in captivity to the obedience of Christ, right? So, and bringing in captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ. Listen what happened. So, if you notice, that tree has always been there, right? Before the serpent came. Mind you now, remember, they was in the garden, they was into it, they named all the animals, they were living. That it wasn't Eve got made one day and then Satan came the next day. That's not how it happened. They was in there and they were living. Okay? Now, the tree has always been there. You see? Let me see. Look, see this tree? See the tree? Let's say it's a forbidden tree, right? Right behind me, right? The tree of knowledge of good and evil. The tree was always there. See, when you got your mind fixated on the things of God, you ignore all this stuff, right? It's there, but it doesn't affect you. That's why the Bible say, no temptation has taken you, but what's so common to man, right? So it's there. Your car got 100-something miles on the dashboard. How many of y'all have done a whole dashboard on your car? Too scared to, right? Car get to shaking, going 100 plus, right? Exactly. So you just like, I don't want to do it. That's how it is being a Christian, right? It's no point. It's there. Who cares? You understand the danger. You understand, what can happen. It feels uncomfortable. It's not what you're going to do. Same way your car could do 160. You never done 160 your whole life. Never thought to, right? You go a little too fast, you start getting nervous. Okay? Welcome to the life of a Christian. Now look, the tree was always there, but Satan came and made her, Satan came and opened up her, Satan came and spoke words to her that took her focus from what God told them and what God taught them, right? Because God is not a babysitter. God is not going to sit there and hold your hand. You understand? Police are not babysitters. They're not going to sit there and hold your hand, right? You're told to do the speed limit. You're told to wear a seatbelt. These are the laws. If you don't, then you see after Adam and Eve did what they did, then God came. Where do you think he was at? He was sleeping when the serpent was talking to them. He was waiting for them to make their choice, right? So when Satan comes, he just highlights those things. He make it look better than what it is because you got free will. One of the strongest things that people possess is the ability to do what they want to do, right? That gives them power. That gives them, a foothold. That gives them strength. And that's what Satan did. Satan did his own thing. He went against God. That empowers him. That created him to have more pride, to have more darkness, to do whatever. Whenever you do the opposite of unrighteousness, it creates, whenever you do the opposite of righteousness, it creates unrighteousness and it creates evil. That's why the devil was called, that's why Lucifer was called Lucifer first, and now he's called the devil, because he became his own creation. When you do things that are opposite of righteousness, you do things that go against the natural way you're supposed to function. So that's why Lucifer, you see all the stories in Ezekiel and Isaiah, they're talking about how he was in heaven. But then when he was casted out, they're telling you, all the wickedness that he does. The same way when someone goes against the laws or go against, God's commands and they kill people, look at the effect that it has. Look at how they affected themselves and they affected other people's lives. People lose both sides. The shooter has family and loved ones that they feel, and the person who they killed has loved ones and people that, that care for them. So it's a lose-lose situation on both sides. So Satan created himself by disobeying God. So all he does is highlight those things you're not supposed to do. And because you got the power and there's no, physical punishment that might come immediately when you sin, there's nothing that is really fighting against your stubborn and your prideful nature, especially when you're in the flesh. So so all he did was highlight that fruit. He you could do it. Why not do it? Why are you not doing it? And it's right there. You got the power to do it. It's going to make you feel good. You in control. You the boss. Why would you not grab the fruit and the fruit is right there? Every other fruit is here, but why not be greedy? Why not lust? Why not have covenants? Just why not do it and you can do it? That's all it is with sin, brothers and sisters, because you can. You can eat a whole pizza. You could drink a whole soda. You could keep eating because your stomach can stretch. Why not do it? That's what pride is. That's what darkness is. So all Satan does is highlight those things and encourage you to just do what you have the ability to do. And that's why the Bible said after that talk, she looked at the tree. She looked at it and she seen in herself that the food was good to eat. You know, the lust of the eyes and the pride of life and the lust of the flesh. She's seen it for herself because now her conscience was defiled. And now she no longer seen good as good, but seen unrighteousness as good. And then sin is something that is passed down. It's a domino effect. So not only did it give her comfort because of the conviction and because of the pleasure that's found, she passed the cigarette, the blunt, the alcohol, the liquor, the shot to her friend, to her husband. The same way you see in the world. People don't go drink by themselves. People don't go party by themselves. People don't try to race. Remember, in order to race a car, you need a car to race. You see that? Sin is contagious. You understand? It takes more people because it numbs your conscience. If there's more people doing what's wrong, it numbs you to that wrong. More people doing what's wrong, make excuses, it numbs you to that wrong. You see? So Satan just highlighted it. Made her just decide, hey, do what you got to do. Why not do it? It's right there. So you see, she's seen what was wrong as good because she had the ability to. And she gave in to eating the forbidden fruit. And once she did that, you see how the sin came into the world. That's the point I'm trying to make to y'all. So the tree was always there, right? But he just come to say, why not do it? God will forgive you later. It's okay. Just see what it's going to feel like. You got the power to do so. That's his mind frame. Remember, angels got free will as well. That's why some angels came with the devil. Come on, you got to read it now. You understand? So everyone has free will and they have power to do whatever they want. You see? Yeah, I don't know what we must be salt and light mean. I don't really understand what that means, Kellen Moore. Okay, I got 2%, y'all. Let me move on. Okay, what I got? Ephesians 5. Okay. Ephesians 5. Submit yourselves to one another in the fear of God. Why? Submit yourselves unto your husbands and unto the Lord, for the husband is the head of the wife, therefore as a church. So y'all read that for yourself. That's talking about husbands. Then in 1 Peter 3:1 talks about likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husband, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. Right? So then 1 John said, he that loveth knoweth not God, for God is love. Colossians 3:14 says, and above all these things put on charity, which is the bond of perfectness. Told you. And look what it says in 1 John 4:7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loveth is born of God and know of God. And Jesus said in John 14:15, if you love me, keep my commandments. Why you think so many can't keep God's commandments today? Why you think so many sin? Why you think 2 billion false Christians tell you they're not perfect because they don't love Jesus? Come on now. Think about it. Think about how important somebody's job is. They don't miss a day of work. Think about how important somebody's phone is, somebody mortgage, somebody rent, somebody cell phone. They don't miss no payments. They need those things. It provides benefits. Living for Jesus without having faith doesn't provide no benefit. So why are they going to do all this stuff without having the Spirit, and they're not going to receive anything back? That's why many grow weary. Many throw in the towel. Many start Yahshua and Hebrew and Greek and changing their name and all this stuff because they get bored. They're not experiencing the power, the grace, the healings, the miracles, the signs and wonders. They're not experiencing the peace, the comfort that truly comes with being a believer. So they jump ship and they go a different direction. But they still try to claim to be a Christian for reputation and status and title in the eyes of the world. This is why people don't love Jesus, because they don't know what love is according to God's word. Read what it says about wives in Ephesians. Read what it says about husbands and wives in Ephesians. Read what it says in Peter about wives. You don't see wives doing this. You don't see them, loving like they're supposed to love, because they were taught to just function in the world, right? And they come from God, right? They were taught things, you know, from people who really believed in God, but it got watered down throughout generations and throughout the years. And now it's being taught back to us this way. You see the point I'm making? So people don't know love. None of the people know love. That's why you don't speak to strangers. That's why you don't hug them. That's why you look at people in the bad light. You gossip. You judge them. You feel you're better than people because you don't got love. That's why you ain't walking out your neighborhood greeting all your neighbors. You ain't knocking on their doors, giving them fruits and veggies and seeing they need bottles of water, asking them they okay, being the shoulder to lean on, giving them hugs. That's how the Christians live. You don't know love. I don't care what nobody talking about. You love the way the world say to love. That's a false love. That's just functioning in society because the conscience doesn't want to be considered or looked at as an evil person. Love you all. God